Wealth Made Simple this week. We're going to talk about how to make the most out of your full-time job. I know.
Sounds exciting.
Sounds exciting. Sounds incredibly exciting. But no, seriously, most people, I would argue, are permanently set and in their own head. I retire at 70, I retire at 75, so in their mind, they've already decided they are going to be an employee. They are going to work for the rest of their lives.
And nothing wrong with that.
And absolutely, there is nothing wrong with that. However, I would say if that is the case and you're not in a super high-paid job or, you don't feel like you are, how should you approach things to get the best out of your job, to get the most?
But does everybody want a higher paid job?
No, and that's my point. That this is, stealing thunder there, Shaz.
Am I jumping the gun?
Jumping the gun just a little bit, yeah. But yeah, money isn't everything, and
but it's a lot of things.
Well, it pays for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But wealth, as we have discussed before, isn't just monetary. Wealth is, health, mindset, physicality, family, all the rest of it that goes along.
The wheel of life that we talked about previously.
Yes. So with that in mind, what do you want out of your job? What is your job giving you? Because I believe to have a happy life, you need to find a balance, and that balance needs to be something that makes you money, i.e. your job, something that keeps you healthy, whether that's physical exercise, whether that's a martial art, something just to keep your body healthy, and something to keep your mind healthy, learning, reading books, watching instructional videos, whatever. But those three things will give you ultimately a good life in whatever sense you want to interpret those three things. And then you bolt onto that, the love and family and all the rest of it that goes with life in general. You're going to be a happy person regardless of how much money you're making, as long as you've got enough.
Mm-hmm.
So
happy or comfortable, would you say?
I think you can be both. I know some people that tell me that they're not bothered by money and they're not interested in making money.
That's what they tell you.
I mean,
there's two conversations here.
Yeah.
The outward and the inward, yeah?
Yes, very much so. And when they tell me that, I ask them who they're trying to convince, me or them.
Yeah. Always. You, of course, always you. Yeah. They're already sold.
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, definitely.
Or can be sold too.
Even
that's a whole different
That's a different program.
Program. But in terms of maximizing the utility or the benefits of your job, are you doing something you love? And a lot of people in their day-to-day job will say, yeah, maybe, no. Are you doing something that aligns with your core values, with who you are as a human being, what you want to be doing? And to anyone that says that, and we will get onto this, I'm jumping to the end for a second there, but to anyone that says, well, I need this job to finance my life so that...
Everybody has two plans, don't they?
Yeah.
One is the plan that they're working on right now, which is get paid and pay the bill. And then the other plan is, this is going to get me out to somewhere else.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, most people don't get out to somewhere else, to just stay there.
No.
Because they're not disciplined enough, are they?
Well, there's that, but there's also a lack of self-belief in whatever it is you want to do. And I'll draw your attention to, there have been 6 and 7-year-olds on YouTube unboxing toys that have
I've seen those.
7-figure incomes.
Yeah.
And okay, it's monitored by their parents and their parents again, but children are making 7-figure incomes.
Yeah.
If a child can do it, don't tell me you can't. But what is the child doing? The child is doing something they love. They are opening toys.
They're having fun, yeah.
They're having fun. And when you find something that aligns with who you are as a human being, what you enjoy doing, making money from that's a lot easier. And making a job, a career out of it is a lot more fulfilling.
Should work be fun?
Yes. Absolutely, it should. You should enjoy what you do. And okay, for some people, you might have to do something you don't enjoy for a period of time until you have set yourself up to do the thing you want to do. And that's where I was going with all of that. But it's still possible. There are people out there making money solving Rubik's cubes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is
It's an art.
Yeah, there is a Rubik's speed cubing world championship.
Yeah. Underwater and all that kind of stuff. Have you seen that one? That's remarkable.
Yeah. So, and yeah, okay, that's one end of the spectrum. And then there are at the other end of the spectrum of people who are making money with ideas, just coming out with ideas. That's their ideas are making the money. And somewhere in the middle, you've got people who are entrepreneurs, businessmen, making jobs for other people, and then there are the people who just get a job in something they're vaguely interested in, or a industry they're vaguely interested in, because
or just get a job because they need some income.
They feel they need some income.
Yeah, they put food on the table.
And each is a valid option. If you want to just turn up for work, switch your brain off, do your hours, go home.
Well, we've talked about it a lot, haven't we, Kieran? With Wealth Made Simple, it's a choice.
Yes.
And as long as you're comfortable with that choice, fine. What I find, which irritates me to some extent, that people aren't congruent, is they say, I'm not happy with my job, my boss isn't good, colleagues aren't good, the customers aren't good, the clients, the patients, the suppliers, whatever. It's something somewhere. Usually it's all of the above. Okay, the environment, atmosphere, blah blah, whatever else, office politics. But then they do nothing concrete. Okay, to work the second program, the second plan that our most people have. So somebody is, let's say, a graphic designer and wants to set up their own digital agency. Well, what have you done the last 6 months about it? Have you read any books? Have you done any webinars? Done networking? Have you done any programs? Have you got a mentor? Have you read stuff online? Are you in any groups? If you are you leading those groups? Are you part of the conversation? Are you answering questions? What are you doing to develop 1 or 2 or 3 sub skills, okay, and traits to work towards that? I'll do it next year. I'll do it the year after. But I don't like it here. I'm going to do that. Well, then you're just talking
and never doing,
and never doing, and then you're going to stay in that state.
And so, yes, and I mean, there are some people out there who will go, oh yeah, but I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to try this, I want to. And there are too many choices. I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to do nothing. And
that's me.
There are a lot of choices out there. There are a lot of options out there. And I would say to those people...
George Bernard Shaw, the famous Irish playwright, said, the possibilities are numerous once you decide to act and not react. Act, as in do something.
Yep. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, and maybe we'll do a session on being overwhelmed in our mindset sessions at some point. If you're feeling overwhelmed, and I am not a psychiatrist in any way, shape or form. All I know is that when I feel overwhelmed, the way I deal with it is physically write a list of all the things I want to do.
I thought you drink whiskey when you're overwhelmed.
I mean, I do that too. But physically write a list. Get a notebook. You can pick up a cheap notebook, $1.99 or something from, most good stationers. Write a list of everything you want to do. Now, interestingly, and this is something I've discovered over the years, I didn't come to it, intuitively.
Everything's a discovery, by the way.
Yep. The first thing you write on that list is the first thing that's on top of your mind. So disregard the rest of the list. Focus on item 1. Item 1 on that list was the first thing that you wrote out because it was the first thing you thought of, which means it's the most important in your brain. Whether you realize that or not, and once you've done that, you focus on the first thing. Okay. First thing says, I want to be, for argument's sake, a computer engineer. All right, cool. What do I need to do that? And that will bring a whole new subset of skills and things that you need to learn to get there.
Legend has it there's a guy called Ivy Lee.
Not the Ivy League.
Might be the Ivy Lee. And he was working with Andrew Carnegie. And Andrew Carnegie is the Scotsman who went to America. And
Carnegie Hall.
yeah, and everything else that he did. Arguably the first billionaire.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we're not including, Egyptian princes and pharaohs.
no. That was passed down wealth. This was earned wealth. Why? Because he became an entrepreneur and then did some great stuff, and maybe some bad stuff as well. But overall, especially to the end of his life, he did some really good stuff. And so he introduced Ivy Lee to Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab was like the founder or the chairman of Bethlehem Steel, big company, and he said, "Just meet this guy." And Charles wasn't really interested, but he did. Or it could have been the other way around, by the way. Charles Schwab maybe introduced him to Andrew Carnegie, but either way, okay.
Either way, they met.
They met,
and that's the important bit.
Yeah, and he said, "I'm going to share with you one thing that you ought to do, which is going to help you become very efficient and effective." And the difference between efficiency and effectiveness, according to Peter Drucker, arguably the leading business management guru of all time, leading authority, is efficiency is doing things right, effectiveness is doing the right things right.
Yeah.
And Peter's right. And so he said, every day, come up with a list, okay, which is your priority list, not to-do list, priority list. And write down 3-5 things you're going to do. And then when you start, reprioritize, and if number one is number one, do that. Then go back to the list, and if you've got 4 things there, add a 5th one if you want to, if you have to. If not, from those 4 things, okay, number 2 was meant to be the second most important, possibly urgent but important, but now I've done this, number 3 is more important, so I'll do that first. And he said, just prioritize and reprioritize every single day, and you'll be very effective. And either Carnegie or Schwab said, how much do I owe you? He said, nothing. Implement it for a year. After a year, and this is going back in the early 1900s, possibly late 1800s, okay?
Yeah.
And just send me a check in a year's time. And in a year's time, receives a check for $100,000. And even if this is the early 1900s, okay, well over 100 years ago, you can imagine how much that 100 grand is worth in today's money.
Well, yeah, with inflation.
The guy said he transformed the way he does work. He became mega efficient and highly effective. So you're talking about this, the list.
Yeah.
And you're right. Work on the first thing first, and then reprioritize it. It's a game changer.
Absolutely.
Easier said than done, but if you do it, you build a habit. You can do it.
And it takes on average 90 days to build a habit. So 3 months on average for most things.
Depends who you are. Some would say 7 days, some would say 21 days, some would say 30 days. But I think, 9 months, 3 months or 90 days helps you to enforce it well.
It's consistency.
Yeah.
But going back to
the future?
Yeah, Back to the Future, great film. I mean, it's physics is a little bit... Anyway.
Complicated.
Wrong, is what I was going to say. Primary thing being that if you travel through time, you've also got to travel through space, because the Earth isn't in the same place it was back then. So,
all too much for me, my friend. I'm a mere bean counter.
But going back to how to make the most of, say you're not interested in what is largely touted as the side hustle, doing the thing you want to do. All right, fine. You want just your day job, and you want to get the most out of your day job, rather than, consistently thinking about doing stuff outside of work. I think everyone should do stuff outside of work, but that's not for everyone. That's your choice. You do what you do what you want to do. You do what makes you happy. But if in your job you're not given KPIs on the regular, you're not discussing things with your leadership, your management, your overall business owners, if you're not discussing ways that you can drive forward, you need to set your own goals, I believe. Set your own goals so that, define them. Short-term goals in this career, long-term goals in this career. What are the milestones? What do you want to hit?
And when.
And when.
And why it's important.
And then start working towards them. When you start doing that, you're going to start learning more. And because you're learning more, I do believe that the more you learn, the more you can earn.
Yeah, and as cliche as that is, it's true. And what's helped me a lot, Kiran, is things I want to do, not to do, by when, and if I need any help or, seek that support. But most important, apart from the deadline, is to visualize it happening and the impact it's going to have, and the impact that I want to create, and the emotions and the feelings and smelling it, breathing it, touching it, feeling it. You go into that. It's going to increase your chances of success if you do it regularly. And then obviously people have affirmations, as you know.
Completely
They
agree.
help with that. And there's a guy called Maxwell Maltz wrote a very good book called Psycho-Cybernetics. And he talks about the theatre of dreams, and self-image.
I do love the theatre of dreams.
Yeah, and it works. It works. So
Really
I think
does.
having that, not just writing stuff, because when you just write it down, you physicalize it. You make it real, as opposed to just having it in your head. But then there's other steps that take place post that.
Yes.
That are very important.
Yeah, a vision board is a fantastic tool. And I do believe they are very powerful.
Well, last week you told me to have a VG board, and this week you're saying vision board.
Well,
Can you change your tack?
Well, I mean, you can
You're
ask the
not a witch
ancestors.
doctor anymore.
But yeah, so once you've visualized your goals, you then start learning, because I want to get there. How do I get there? I've got to do this, 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 and this. So you start learning. At some point in that, and this is the part that most people switch off at, and most people go, I don't wanna. And that is taking initiative. Get close to your management, get close to your senior team, get close to the business owner, speak to them, develop yourself with them. But also part of that is going to mean doing the thing, doing the work, and taking initiative. If that means you've got to go in on a Saturday morning just to get something finished or get something done when it's outside of your work hours, or you need to do some research outside of your work time, and you've got to put the effort in, you've got to do that, then do it. You might not get paid straight away for it, and that's a key thing to
No
understand.
good investment pays you straight away, Kiran, as you know, and commitment is doing the thing you said you would do long after the mood you said it in has left you.
Yep.
And that separates the wheat from the chaff.
Yes, it does. And that's kind of thing. And okay, in super large, monstrous entities, companies, it may be difficult to get noticed doing things like that. And this is why you need to compound it with consistency and with, knowing who to speak to. Because working hard alone will never get you the results you want. I promise you it won't. In some industries it might, but in general, working hard is not the sole solution. In anything you do, you are going to have to work hard. And I think you should.
Yeah, absolutely.
But working hard won't get you to where you want to go to. Working smart will get you to where you want to go to.
It's when we did that episode on money, do you remember?
Yes.
We were thinking, the harder you work, the more you should earn, and working hard is important. Remember, I talked about the people who work the hardest in this world.
Don't get paid the best.
What I've seen, are usually in developing countries, working in fields, 15, 18 hours a day, lifting loads of heavy stuff, sweating it out every single day.
Yeah.
And that's real hard work.
And
they don't get paid an awful lot.
No, exactly. And that's kind of...
They should, but they don't. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the point, isn't it?
And that is precisely the point. And that's the thing. So if you're going to work hard, and everyone should work hard, because
It's the right way to be.
Well, it's
Good
the
work
right-
ethic is
But I also think jobs are more fulfilling, they're more fun, they're more engaging, the harder you work.
And you can be honest with yourself, don't you?
That's just
good day's work.
Honest day's work, honest day's pay.
Yeah, that's right.
But when you start taking initiative and start embracing challenges and growing yourself and connecting with the right people at the right levels, those people, if they are the right people, will notice. And as with all investments, like you said earlier, it may take time, but they will pay dividends eventually. You've just got to prove your consistency and your commitment to it to get it done.
And if it's so easy to get, okay, like we said before, everybody would do it, and it wouldn't be worth having, would it?
Well, no.
So
exactly.
There's going to be a sacrifice in terms of investment, time, energy, effort, enthusiasm.
I think
the longer you wait, usually, as long as you're doing making the right noises, taking the right steps, the better, the bigger the return. Usually, can't say for every single scenario, as you know.
But especially in smaller companies, if you're in a small to medium-sized business where you actually do have a direct contact a lot of the time with the CEO, the director, the manager, the founder of the company, then you can make some real change, and you can discuss with them, get ideas from that. Most people who are at that level are happy, providing that it's the right time. Be sensible. Don't interrupt them in the middle of a meeting, but to talk to you about your ideas. And this is where all of this comes together. Is, are you adding value to them?
Yep, very important. Adding values. Yeah,
and
because everybody likes people who are adding value or are more valuable than what they get paid, because that is a recipe for success. So what are some of the other things you've got that you want to share with us, Kieran?
Yeah, so some of the other things are, understand your time management, balance your job and your responsibilities, get good. If you are that person that always turns up late, leave 15 minutes earlier, get there on time. It will make a difference.
But there's this thing that I was reading, Kieran, where, and I can't remember what it's called, it's something to do with where people don't have time awareness.
Yes. Yeah, it's a thing.
Okay, and time gets lost on them, or they get lost on time, or whatever it is. Okay, and they can never be on time.
Yep.
Okay, and if it's an illness per se, if it is, I sympathize wholly.
Yeah.
Okay, and that needs to be diagnosed and sorted. But bar that, if it's an excuse, it's a poor excuse, Kieran. I think a lot of people hide behind that as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay. Now I'm always late. I'm never on time. I've tried my best. Well, try leaving home 15 minutes early. That might solve your problem.
Yeah, with no traffic, my journey from my house to work is a 20-minute drive. With light traffic, it's 25 minutes. Heavy traffic, it's close to half an hour. Okay. I start work during rush hour, so I know there's going to be heavy traffic. Well, logic dictates leave 35 minutes before I'm due at work.